Quinny, something I don't know if there's something else you wanted to say there, but something I wanted to talk to you about as well is like we're like the beast that SoRare could become, do you know, as a platform, what it could entail. And like, yeah, obviously there was that kind of leaked. I don't even know if it was leaked or if it was just false reporting or true reporting or what it was, but there was the report of potentially value in SoRare at billions, near 4 billion or something, 3.7 or something, was it?
Yeah, it was something crazy. Billions. It was like 500 million they're trying to raise. I think it was from, I say SoftBank. I might have got that wrong, but it's some sort of place like that. And I was saying to you, and we're talking about this before, but my big banker pal, he reckons that's the biggest checkbook you can get in the game. You know, like if they start cutting you money, they just apparently, so I'm told, they just put lots of money into big. You know, they only do big money and they only go after like certain things. And they kind of play the law of averages, you know, to that extent as well, where they just kind of throw it out, but when they throw it out, it's in big wads. So it could be very exciting because if you've got a big check writer in your pocket, it protects you from a lot of things to allow growth to happen. And it's really funny, like, you know, obviously you're kind of involved in business yourself, John, and everything as well. But I think, see, the now the kind of exposure I've had with business outside of like YouTube and everything that we normally talk about or whatever, is seeing this kind of Silicon Valley, like, like startup companies and tech companies and all this kind of thing. Like there's a kind of running joke that goes between them, because I watch other content and listen to our stuff myself, and it's like a lot of these companies don't want revenue because they stop getting funding. You know, see, when a lot of these companies go for seed funding, they don't have anything, you know, and it's like, this company just raised 50 million in seed funding, and it's like, oh, well, you know, what do they do? Oh, they don't do anything yet, but what they might do is this, and it's like, well,
right. Yeah. Richard, one potential issue, our hosting fees could become a challenge as we scale.
Right, but we can offset a lot of that once we get a few customers and start a subscription revenue model.
What? Revenue? No revenue. I'll call you back. What? Why would you go after revenue?
Because to make money?
No. If you show revenue, people will ask how much, and it will never be enough. The company that was the 100Xer, the 1000Xer becomes the 2X dog. But if you have no revenue, you can say you're pre-revenue. You're a potential pure play. It's not about how much you earn. It's about what you're worth. And who's worth the most? Companies that lose money. Pinterest, Snapchat, no revenue. Amazon has lost money every fucking quarter for the last 20 fucking years, and that Bezos motherfucker is the king.
The king.
There's no revenue. No one wants to see revenue. Go.
I just thought that mainly the goal of companies is to make money.
Yeah, no. That's not how it works. I don't want to make a little bit of money every day. I want to make a fuck ton of money all at once. ROI. ROI.
Why 50 million? Whereas with SoRare, it's like the revenue is already there, which is quite odd for that situation. And it just kind of highlights what you're saying there, the monster it could be. Like, the
fact that they're even seeking funding with the amount of money they're making kind of shows the scope of their goals.
Yeah,
but why would they want it if they don't need it? You know, they must have their set high. Because what I see it going, Quinny, what I genuinely see is, you know, this kind of new and this is what kind of got me thinking about it. You know, the new like the follow feature where you can follow accounts.
Yes.
Right, there's no timeline or anything yet. But where SoRare for me goes is, and go and follow me and Quinny, where I see that going is, this will be like a new social media for football fans. They'll have the TV rights for lots of leagues. And even if they don't get full TV rights to watch full games, which I think they can. I mean, Paddy Power, you can watch half these games. Do you know what I mean? I stick a tenner on my balance on Paddy Power and go over and watch J League or Jupiler League games or whatever, because that's the easiest way for me to get it half the time when I'm on the go. They'll be able to get a lot. If they have 500 million, they'll be able to get a lot of these things, right? Of course. You know, they'll be sharing clips. You know, you'll get notifications when your players do things on the pitch through their new app. So this app will be all encompassing with almost like a social media vibe to it, with followers, where you can post your teams very easily, where you can track your week on people's profiles. There'll be awards and shops to customize your profile. There'll be all this shit going on, along with the actual video of the games, on top of the real world experiences that people can win, and content following that from SoRare themselves of the time Quinny won the trip to the World Cup. And it'll be kind of a vloggy type thing of Quinny going to the World Cup with SoRare and meeting the players in the changing room to sign autographs. And this sort of shit. They'll be like, I think it just could be so all encompassing. And I really do. That's whenever I seen the 500 million, I was thinking, like, oh, this is where they're looking to go, and they're looking to go there sooner rather than later. And that is why, for me, obviously with the boom in February, March, it's fallen off a bit, a good bit, but still, if you look at where we were and where we are now, it's still a big jump.
Yeah.
Fallen off a bit in the last month or two. But I'm feeling, again, I'm starting to feel the kind of, oh God, okay, I need to get more money in. This is bubbling again.
Yeah.
Something's around the corner. Something's around the corner. That's what
Feels
I'm
like we've
feeling.
had time back, doesn't it? It feels like we've got another chance because we were all in that situation. It's like, fuck, I wish I had another couple of months to buy some of these cards before they became mega money, you know? So it does feel like we've got a little bit of time back. I love your foresight and all that, John, by the way. I was thinking about that kind of thing. I never went anywhere. You know, I love everything you've just put in my head there. So thanks for that.
It's exciting, isn't it? Like
the Series C Griezmann with the wee tick, that is like 100% social cred. That, you
100%.
know, 100 million%. And that would
Quinny
be
with
a
a tick.
football thing. Footballers will be like, you know, it'll be a thing for them as well, you know.
But whenever you see like Mbappe's followers on SoRare is like 60K or something stupid.
Yep.
Let me check now. Mbappe. Like, and I know he's like the main guy. 67,542 followers on SoRare.
Wow.
What? But it was the whole thing was that like Vandervoort and like Vanaken had more followers on SoRare than they did on their actual socials.
Wow.
And that shows the scope of why so many of the lower, like the non-top 5 leagues in Europe in particular, and other leagues, MLS and stuff will be all over this, why they'll want involved in this SoRare ball is getting football fans to support their teams. I watch Bruges games now, and I watch Anderlecht games. I actually do.
Yeah.
I sat down and watched Feyenoord play. I've actually done that, Quinny. I'm not bullshitting you. Because Berghuis was my captain the week.
Yeah.
Do you know Berghuis? So it's like, that's where this is going. And I think like, I kind of called it my wee like prediction video, I think, for like the year. I did it a few months ago. And they haven't done it yet, but you know this kind of like the awards where you can buy the like badge and you can buy the backgrounds and stuff.
Yep.
Down the line, I can see those being NFTs from artists on their own, and then you know you can buy the wee awards from the shop and stuff. But if you want to import an NFT from an artist who you like and stick it as your cover art for your profile and shit like this, you can do that, and maybe then it has the wee tick to show that this is a registered NFT and actually is an NFT. It's not just an award from our shop. So like the scope for that then to promote growth in other NFTs and maybe, you know, a market.
I remember you saying that before. Do you know what just kind of came to my mind there? Is I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter recently with that Ziliquat in particular, but I think Inter Milan are doing their own NFT and stuff like that. So you probably like, you know, join SoRare. This could be how long down the road, but I make you totally right. Like it might be a case of, all right, well, I'm going to go to the Celtic club shop and buy the Celtic NFT banner, and then you know you buy it from the club, you support the club, they get a bit of revenue. You know, you get your NFT banner that's yours, you put your name on it or fucking whatever, and then you go boom, pop it in your club, you know, front and center. Because there is a lot of sports NFTs starting to come out of the woodwork, like probably looking at SoRare and using that as maybe a path to follow.
I just think it makes sense. Now maybe I know it could be a year, it could be 5 years off, and it won't be 5, it could be 2 years off. I don't know. It's just again when we're on this sort of speculation thing, I think SoRare as an app and as a website is going to become so all-encompassing with more footballers using it because they see the benefits in it for them, particularly outside the top 5 leagues and people who are already superstars.
Yep.
And even then you're going to get on Griezmann and the people like that who are just passionate about it and love it, getting involved. I think before Gary V did that tweet on Valentine's Day where I thought SoRare could be was here, and then when he did that and I seen the reactions, like, okay, SoRare's ceiling's here. And now when my head gets going and I see the rumors and this and that, the ceiling's way up there and it gets me excited. And again, disclaimer to people watching, Quinny, me and you make content on this, me and you love this. We're both very bullish about this platform. There's probably counter arguments to every little piece of excitement we have. And people need to do their own research, take it with a pinch of salt. Don't put in what you can't afford because you're getting FOMO because of how excited I am. But all we can do is talk about how excited we are, Quinny, you know?
I love it too much to apologise at this stage, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you're watching this stuff, you probably love it too. And if you don't even know what it is yet, then make sure, like John says, you do your own research and you know, all that kind of stuff. But it's I was saying to who was that I was saying to? I can't remember who it was. But the thing that was so rare that, you know, everyone, I think maybe about 3 months ago, everyone was kind of, maybe 2 months ago, everyone was being really like, this kind of thing get put upon so rare, like, because of, you know, index and footstock and whatever. It's like, get rich quick and, you know, like, oh, it's just a money make, you know, it's a game first and foremost, you know, and it's only really exciting now financially for getting involved for people like me and you and anyone else who's in the same frame of mind. It's not because it's like a bubble or gimmicky or any of these types of things, crooked or whatever. but it is that it's going to be so big. And the only advantage that me and you and anyone else watching this has is that we've found it before it's get 1 million users, or
Yeah.
before Ethereum goes to 1 million quid, or
Yeah.
whatever it might be. That's the only advantage anyone has right now. If we fast forward 5 years, I'm no different to someone who joins brand new. The only difference is at that point is I've been here for 6 years. That is the only benefit.
But like another small thing is we've seen in terms of their marketing and stuff, like the reason I'm getting excited is I was saying to you, a couple of big YouTubers have followed me in the
Right.
last week. Someone might be watching this tagged, I think me and you under one of their posts about it. They said they were approached by SoRare. Yeah, someone said they were approached by SoRare and all. That guy followed me, and another one, whatchamacallit, Castro, who's a big FIFA YouTuber. It's funny because I've actually watched this stuff before, so it was kind of surreal when I seen that he followed me out of nowhere. I've watched this stuff before because he opens physical cards and stuff on his streams. He just gets boxes of these really premium sets and rips them on his streams. But you're talking, these are two YouTubers with like nearly 2 million subs, and they're hovering around the SoRare space now. Do you know? They're hovering around because they've been reached out to, I imagine. And I'd say this summer with a marketing push, there could be YouTubers talking about SoRare. There could be all sorts. I'm excited, Quinny.
Same. No, completely. I think as well, like, I've been out in the market quite a lot, been buying different things. I noticed a tweet you put out recently. You've bought like 27, 28 under 23s on the spin. You've been kind of cutting off the Asian arm of your club.
So basically, anyone who's watched my stuff, anyone who hasn't, the nuts and bolts of it for me was that I had a handful of Asian players, a couple of pretty elite ones. I had Kikuchi and I had Kosetani, which were amazing for my under 23s for the past few months. And then I had Usami up top, Takamine, Tomoki Takamine. I think he's at Sapporo or something. And I had Koki Machida. So they kind of made up my Asian lineup for like last week. They didn't do very well. But I've been thinking for the last month or two, I was thinking that these are great lads. They're really sorting out my under 23s. The time to sell these players is whenever all the European leagues stop, all the FOMO starts, and everyone wants to buy players to enter over the summer. And I think we're kind of in the peak of that feeding frenzy now. Maybe not quite yet because there is the under 21s, there is the Euros to look at, whatever else. Maybe we won't get as big a window. The window for this type of trading would probably be better in a year, but there's no Euros or World Cup. But we won't have that for a couple of years.
No.
But I kind of figure that, like, for the amount of utility I'm going to get, those J League guys might have a couple of weeks off here and there over the summer. There are little gaps in their schedule and cup competitions and stuff. I'm thinking, like, for the limited times that they will actually either all bang and get me a reward, or I'd be able to couple them up with a select few forwards and midfielders that are in other competitions. The amount of rewards I'll actually be able to churn out of them, is it worth the amount their price will drop off whenever all the European leagues are back? And for me, I don't think there's as much in it. I don't think there's too much in it. So what I've done is yesterday I sold Kikuchi. I could actually tell you the exact trade I did. And maybe the people will be like, geez, you're mad, John. But do you know what? I am.
I think you're mad for selling Tani. But
yeah. So I'll tell you the logic. Right? So I sold. Oh, they sent me the offer. Did I accept it? Where is it? It's not. It is here. Yeah. So I got rid of Kikuchi, and I took Yari Verscharen and 0.35 ETH. I've wanted Verscharen for a while. It gave me the money to then, along with, I sold my Maximenko, which is controversial enough as well. And the money that I got from both them on top of my other balance, I bought Jonathan David and I bought Victor Osimhen. So now my under 23s and my champion forward, where I was lacking, my champion forward I've been lacking severely, they're sorted. And I also think long term, these players are more collectible and more desirable players, than J League guys. I just do. Now today, this is the one that you think is controversial. I sold Tani for 0.62 ETH, and I took Pavlidis on top of that, who's like a 0.15 player who I want.
Yeah, I know him.
So that's about 0.77 worth of value. And the reason I did it, if it had been just players, I probably wouldn't have done it. But what I'm going to do with that ETH now is I'm going to buy Albin Lafont, who is an elite under 23s goalkeeper in Europe. When I say elite, I always throw elite out there. What I mean is, like, he's a starting under 23 keeper in a team who will play 38 games a season. And if he transfers team, he'll be the number one keeper.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that. So for me, I went from the J League that I personally don't really follow. This is my kind of off time now between FPL seasons and SoRare content, whatever else. I'm kind of enjoying it. I find it hard to track it. I tried my hardest to really get involved. I was entering players from there, but I didn't have a clue what the fixtures meant really, bar a select few teams. I knew if you're playing Kawasaki Frontal or like Kobe or like a few big teams, Gamba Osaka, like there's a few good teams about. Sag and Tosu are their team as well.
Yeah.
I just really don't know it, but if you're playing them, it's probably a bad week. But other than that, yeah, stick them out. So I just didn't have the same passion. So what I've done is I've tried to sell these players whenever everyone wants them and transition that into almost their European equivalent.
Yeah.
Bank some ETH to buy more players while I'm at it. So that's where my head's at, Quinny.
Yeah. I think it's a good strategy. I did something quite similar with Challenger cards in March time, because I just like Challenger, I wasn't winning anything and I had tons of them, you know. And I was very liquid. People will use them and want them and have fun with them. And they're cards I can put out at good prices that all involved are getting a good deal out of. And we'll go and do that. And that freed me up funds wise to go and get other things, which at the time was paid off for me pretty well. So I did, but again, when I done that, like what I did is I actually sold all my Challenger midfielders and I sold all my Challenger goalkeepers except for Van der Voort. And I had too many good defenders. I was like, I cannot let these guys go. You know, they're going to be very useful next year. The money in the short term is not required. And I don't really have that many forwards anyway. I only had like Larson and I think I might even been it, in fact, in terms of Challenger, Ugbo and one or two others, not much. But the midfielders and the goalkeepers were very liquid, good prices and getting them moved on. But I did want to keep a little kind of seed of that region so that if I was to win any cards, even though they were still going to be playing, then it's like, oh, well, I just won a goalkeeper that plays now. Fantastic. I'll just throw a lineup out, see what happens.
I know what you mean, yeah.
You know, just to have that door open. And I've always treated Asia in a similar way. I don't have that many Asia cards, you know, to be honest. I've kind of bought like a super rare or two recently, but I've definitely got less than 20, you know, but I just can't keep them. And it's like, you know, maybe they do something, maybe they don't.
I just think, like, personally, if I'm real with myself, I tried starting a manager mode on FIFA in the J League a few months ago. I tried my best to get involved. I bought anyone I buy is almost off other people's recommendations. You told me to get Eotanica months ago. Like, this is back in like December, and I was half cut here one night playing. What's that thing? Among Us. I was playing it with the lads, and I went in and bought like a Juventus bundle, which worked out well in the end. And I bought Eotanica of an evening for the prices were obscene now compared to what they are now. But I remember, so I had him. I got Kosaitani. Whenever ETH was worth next to nothing, I got him for like 0.4, I think, in a private trade. And then I got Kikuchi for like, oh geez, I actually had a cracking with Kikuchi. Someone, a shout out to, I'm not going to shout his name out in case he doesn't want to be, but a guy, he knows who he is if he watches this, who messages me. Kikuchi, yeah, you know who you are. Kikuchi's the guy. And I bought one for like super cheap, like 0.15, 0.125, whenever ETH was lower. And then I bought another one at 0.225, sold that one for like 0.8. And then I kept this one long term because I was using him because he was class. But all that was off other people's recommendations. But for me, I know, and this is the beauty of SoRare, Quinny, in many ways. You have the passion to go and follow the MLS. You have the passion maybe to follow the J League a bit more than me. I have enough of my plate, I think, with European football. And if I know, like I had a Walker Zimmerman because I knew he was a high scorer in MLS, but I sold him as well. And I just kind of like, I might buy these guys in the off season, use them for a few months and sell them like this again next year. But if I'm not, even now, like even when J League's anything on, I'm not going actively watching highlight programs. I'm not actively monitoring the fixtures unless like at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. So for me, it just makes sense to ship them on while they're in demand and bring in players that I will look at and like be like, yes, do you know what I mean? I have Victor Osimhen now sorted. Do you know, maybe what I should have done is save for more super rares instead of buying these rares, but I did need the rare forwards in Champ on under 23. But that, anyway, that was a long kind of winded thing about where my logic is and why that's what I chose to do. But I understand why people be looking at me going like, you're mad, you have a summer utility, you can grind out ETH, you can win a few cards, you're mad selling them now. But I think almost, I'm trying to be, so many times in my trading life, I do this where I'll keep them and then I try and sell them at the end when everyone's selling them, and then you end up taking the big hit in price.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be proactive and sell when you should sell when you should sell, as opposed to, do you know, I'm trying to do it. So maybe I'll get burnt. Maybe it won't work out.
Well, it is a hard thing to do because like on the face of it in the short term, because you are like selling a goalkeeper that will not be playing in the next game week, but generally will play like 30 games a season or whatever. Yeah. But it's just, I've always said that you've always maintained, the same thing. But the best time to sell is when somebody's buying. Like that is always the best time. And if you have, and again, this is something that we always talk about in DMs or whatever. But if you've got something you'd rather have that money in, then that's the thing to do. Because you don't want to be looking at something thinking, right, okay, next time I'll go get that, or tomorrow I'll go get that, and then boom, before you know it, he scores a hat trick, and the cat's out the bag, and you're like, crap, I almost got him this cheap. Now it's never going to happen again for ages, and it's a big setback.
In terms talking about what I'm doing here, I'm messaging two guys. I don't know if they watch or not, so I'm not going to say anything either, Quinny. But I'm trying to get Lafont nice and cheap.
Yeah.
So this is going out Wednesday. He's on market at, let's make this a bit of a live thing, Quinny. I know this is your channel, but I'm taking over. The lowest on the market's 0.725, and a guy said he'll do 0.675. That's a current season card. 0.675 is pretty decent. I properly lowballed him. But there's a guy here who has a high level older card who's kind of like, I don't really want to come down. I can go to 0.75. So I'm going to hit him with this guy. I'll go to 0.675, but I think he'll tell me to piss off. And then I'll just end up going for I'll try and get him to 6.5, I think.
I would, well, the thing with I sold Malafont, I think, for 0.7.5 or whatever. So I think that's like a decent rate for a seller to be moving at. And if you're able to get under that, especially with the way ETH is at there, I think I sold them about a similar level, then that would be that'd be a good trade. I sold Lafont personally because I didn't think Nonce were going to stay up. I didn't think he was going to sign. So he's got a definitely good outlook for the season ahead, especially if he does well at the Euros. I personally think that Holland will knock them out tonight as we're recording this Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
I think Holland will do
I don't even think he'll start, though. It'll be Meslier, will it?
I think Meslier is in too good form for Leeds, not to start, So,
yeah. I'm thinking, what I see from Lafont is, at worst, another season at Nantes. At best, a transfer to a team that's a tier higher. Marseille, a tier that's a little bit better, So, and that's better for him. So, the only thing I have now in terms of European, under 23 goalkeepers, I think, is Bodart. So, and I have a bunch of speculative ones that should be good in a year or two.
Yeah.
But I need someone.
You've got a Nubel, don't you?
I've got a Nubel, but he's out. He's 24 now, isn't he?
Oh, of course. I'm 23, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Nubel, yeah. But anyway, I'm going to write back to this guy here while we're recording, Quinny. It's
nothing. That's a mind at all, man.
This is what's going around in my head.
But one of the other things that had kind of floated through my mind when we were kind of chatting about this stuff is all the cards I'm looking at buying now are super rares. That is pretty much the only thing when I'm going into my market filters, whether it be my favourites in the secondary or anything on auctions, it's just super rares I'm looking at now. And that kind of thing you were saying earlier on is definitely a fear that I've also got, that there's a little bit of a second opportunity to get some of these cards. I foolishly talked myself into believing I was going to get the latest Goretzka Super Rare auction, and it went to double what my wallet was.
You love Goretzka, don't you?
Mate, it's just the one that got away hard, for about 3 or 4 times. I had the very first 2 auctions, I had the wallet to go more bids than what he sold for. And then both times I thought I'll get him cheaper. It's a spike now, it's a bubble now, the market will go back in a few weeks, and then the next auction I'll get him at a better price, and it's just never. So just kept doing that.
Yeah. I'm looking him up here, Quinny, while you're talking about him.
Nah, I've tried my best never to think about him, so it just makes me sad.
He has a lot of big scores, but he has a lot of DMPs. Are they injuries?
Yeah, he's had a few injuries in the last year.
Yeah, sort of 3 games out here.
25 at Bayern. 25 at Bayern, box to box, goal scoring midfielder. Weren't fit and available. He plays every game for them and Germany. Just love him too much. But my problem, I think, sometimes, right, and is I wish sometimes I don't wish sometimes I could easily just change my name and my icon when I'm bidding on stuff. But I was saying this with Fantasy Gaffer, but when you go into auctions, sometimes, especially when you make content or people know you've got an eye for a player on occasion, it makes it hard to get some bargains because people see you dropping a bid in, especially with super rares. I got a super rare Sam Vines 2 or 3 days ago for 0.38, and this is the very first time that actually contradicts what I just said, right? The very first time that this has ever happened was I bid in at 1 minute 5. It's what I always normally do, right? And then a bid will come in about 30 seconds and maybe have a wee fist fight for a minute or 2. But I thought I'm just going to leave it until it gets to 10 seconds, and then I'm going to put a bid in. And I waited to go all the way down to 10 or 15 seconds, and I went, right, fuck it, I'm putting my bid in now. Boom, and it was 0.38. And then I sat there for the whole minute, and I was waiting for somebody to outbid me or do something, but it was like it just all stopped. It's as if like I don't know if it was over everyone else's budget, but I can't believe I'm getting them for one bid, kind of.
Yeah.
The amount was fine. But normally, as soon as that happens, whoever's just bid last sees it's like, maybe I'm just being self-absorbed. They say to me and they go right straight away, boom. And then this guy from 3 bids ago, he goes, no, I'm coming back, boom. And then you get a wee bit of that, and it's like, oh, fuck, I don't want to pay coins for this, But that was a really nice kind of turn of events. But I think like super rares are all I'm thinking about now, all I'm looking at, because they're just, I think D2 just looks so good. And what I'm really hoping pays off is I can get myself in the situation where winning a card like a super rare Hakimi or a Goretzka, or we're just talking about, or like a Pi, winning a super rare like that in D2 will be possible for a team of the super rares I'm trying to get. I've got a few European ones from last season, and if I stack up on some I got a Joseph Martinez who's just sick. Can't believe I got him. But see, when it comes to like new season, and we get new season Bayern, new season PSG, new season this one and that one, all those reward categories are going to be bulging with all these tier 1 star super rares waiting to be won. Just waiting to be won. And so D2 for me, like, especially when Europe comes back, that's really, I need to be ready to hit that hard every game week, because the chance to win like a proper next level super rare will be there.
Your super rare forwards are disgusting, Quinny. Just looking, aren't they like? But that like Joseph Martinez, but I mean even just like Darwin Nunez, Lucas Nemecha, and Jordan Larson, and even like Diego Costa could get a dodgy move somewhere and become a big scorer. Like
Paulinho is one of my big hopes for next year as well.
Yeah, Paulinho's there. I didn't mention him, but yeah, I had a rare of him. I held him for ages, just the injury kind of.
One of the worst rares you could own.
Yeah, he's just doing my head.
I mean, the super rare, but awful rare.
But what games are on today? There, speaking of sort of not necessarily speaking of it at all. I'm just thinking of Cuisance and how good he was at sort of underage international.
France have Holland, and I say I'm back in Holland because of SoRare. I'm kind of forced to.
Yeah.
And Germany as well. Germany, I've got Denmark, so that should be an easy game for Germany.
Oh, I see that, yeah. Off 5 and 8 o'clock kickoffs. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully be able to get one or two of them. I don't know will they be playing, but
I've got Super Rare Nemeka, and I've got Teze still to run in global in D3 under 23s. I beg your pardon.
Class. I'm all out. I just the lack of a keeper kind of shafted me for that. And even, do you know what? Like I've got a few players who.
You know who my keeper is, John?
Who?
Tanny.
Tanny. Yeah, I decided to go because I think I actually didn't have a. I don't know what happened. Do you know the whole like there was a bit of they'd kind of messed up the putting teams in and the no game and all that. That might have actually cost me. But I think like Noah Lang wasn't going to be playing, because don't know, he's racist.
I think he is out the squad or not available.
Yeah. And Coop Miners was called up to the senior squad, I think.
Cool.
So he wasn't in it. And then I have Mitchell Backer, so he would have been my defender. So I think I was left pretty thin after that of Nemeka Rare and of this and that. But anyway, I couldn't get out an under 23 team really, so I just didn't. I opted for an Asian team that didn't really work out.
See, with the no games in that show, and I just ignored it. I just clicked on the no game filter and just picked the people I wanted to pick. I knew that had matches. And if they don't get scored, I was just willing to take that kind of little mini gamble on it. But the only one I don't know about is the Croatia goalkeeper, Katarski. He's like the Ajax number 2, or number 3, or number 4, depending on what day of the week it is. And I've been, some people have said to me, I don't know if he's actually in the under 21s team, but he played the last couple of games in this tournament, so I'd be very surprised. Like if you're on the bench for Ajax, he's not injured, So he's the only one that I don't really know if he could play or will play. But Teze and Nemeka, I expect him to go. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, good luck with it anyway.
I'm just going to kill the recording here. Thank you.
It's the time.